What's going on, everybody? KEVINCAGE here with another crypto update. We got a bunch to go over in today's video. So first up, we have T-minus 7 days until Ripple Swell, taking place next Tuesday on November 4th. And looking at the guest list of speakers, we have some of the biggest names in global finance. Ranging from BNY, the CEO of the Nasdaq, the White House, Citi, JP Morgan, Fidelity, BlackRock, and MasterCard. And at the same time, we got some big news from Ashish Birla, who was formerly over at Ripple, and he just announced his new company called Evernorth. And this company is going public in a $1 billion deal backed by Ripple, SBI, Pantera, Kraken, and GSR. And we can see right here the goal to create the largest institutional XRP treasury on Nasdaq, under the ticker XRPN. So we're definitely going to dive into this. And we also got some very big news today from Canary Capital, and this group is also speaking at Ripple Swell next week. And we can see right here that they have launched the first United States spot HBAR ETF on the Nasdaq. So we got a bunch to go over, and let's kick it off. Alright, first up, so we already went over this blog recently of the $1 billion acquisition that Ripple made for G Treasury and getting into the corporate treasury market. So we have Brad Garlinghouse right here emphasizing the size of the corporate treasury payments market. We can see $120 trillion. So for perspective, this eclipses or more than doubles the market cap of the S&P 500. Alright, next up, let's dive into this speakers list for Ripple's annual event Swell. I counted, I think, about 84, or conservatively speaking, over 80 different speakers. And I will say, just looking at Ripple's previous Swell events, this potentially could be the biggest one, not just because XRP is no longer at 20 or 50 cents, but because of recent regulation, such as the Genius Act, a federal framework for stablecoins. And there are a million other things to consider, such as the XRP ETF tracker for spot ETFs in the United States. So as we scroll down, we can see a variety of different futures XRP spot ETFs, but what I'm paying attention to are the spot ETFs for XRP. Right now, we just have this Rex Osprey live. And not financial advice, I believe well within the next 6 months, we're going to see more of these. We did just get the HBAR ETF by Canary Capital, so I'd love to see a couple XRP ETFs potentially go live by the end of this year, and that is not financial advice. And at least in this list, we have issuers like Grayscale, Wisdom Tree, CoinShares, 21 Shares, which already has that very large ETF or ETP technically in Europe. We have Canary Capital, they did just launch the HBAR one, and then we also have Bitwise, so very big hitters. And considering the speakers at this list, I mean, we have the CEO of the Nasdaq. There are a lot of things going on that we're going to dive into with this video discussing the Nasdaq and XRP. We also have Patrick Witt, Executive Director of the President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets. So this guy is representing the White House. We have Carolyn Weinberg over at BNY, the Bank of New York. So I'm sure you guys remember the name Tim Keeney. You can find it hopefully still on the updated standard custody website that Ripple the company also acquired. But the thing about BNY or Bank of New York is they are actually custodying or holding the Ripple US dollar reserves. And if you visit BNY.com, we can see how big they are as a global asset manager with $2 trillion in assets. And as we scroll down a bit more on the homepage, we can see over $55 trillion are under custody and or administration with $2.1 trillion AUM. And there's plenty more where that came from. I mean, we have a variety of crypto companies and exchanges. We have US representatives. We have issuers like Franklin Templeton. We have Citi, one of the big 3 banks. We have Maxwell Stein, BlackRock Director of Digital Assets. And I'm not going to read all 80 plus of these speakers, but I think you guys get it. We have Fidelity, Bitwise, another major issuer and asset manager. We have Robinhood, JP Morgan, and so on. And keep in mind, we also have Hidden Road, so I guarantee they're going to be speaking more about this because we know that the acquisition fully went through, and now we have Hidden Road is now Ripple Prime. And the craziest thing is this initial announcement came out back in April of 2025. We can see the Ripple US dollar being used for cross-margining. We have post-trade activity across the XRP ledger discussing institutional DeFi. But we can see right in this article that was dated 4 days ago on October 24th that since the initial acquisition announcement that was made all the way back in April, that the Ripple Prime's business has grown by 3x. We have right here Ripple's foundational digital asset infrastructure across payments, crypto custody, and stablecoin, as well as the use of XRP, will complement the services offered within Ripple Prime. Alright, next up, so yesterday this came out by Yahoo Finance. We have Solana, Litecoin, and Hedera ETFs to begin trading this week. So we have the Canary Litecoin ETF and the Canary HBAR ETF already effective and set to begin trading. I believe the HBAR one is already live. I haven't checked the Litecoin one, mainly because I hold way more HBAR. I do have, some Litecoin, but nothing crazy. I also have to check this Bitwise Solana staking ETF. So there's a lot going on mentioning the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, and the funds or these ETFs met the generic listing standard adopted by the SEC. We can see right here that the SEC is currently weighing several dozen crypto-focused funds covering individual alts, combinations of assets, and strategies. Among them are also spot funds tracking Cardano, Avalanche or AVAX, and Doge. In this gentleman, Eric Balchunas, I might be butchering his last name, but I've seen him on a variety of interviews. We can see right here, he is the senior ETF analyst over at Bloomberg. And if you check out the Ripple Swell speakers, we have him in this list speaking at Ripple Swell. And I don't know if you guys remember Eric's statements, it might have already been a year ago, but it was a while back. He said that the most 4 likely alts to get spot ETFs in the United States were Solana, XRP, Litecoin, and Doge. Alright, so looking on the block.co, we have the XRP ETF tracker, 1 spot XRP ETF live so far with Rex Osprey. Looking at Solana, at least according to this ETF tracker thus far, we have the Rex Osprey 1 live. Looking at the Litecoin ETF tracker, we can see Canary Capital still showing as pending, at least on this. And I keep changing the URL because I want to see one for HBAR, but I keep getting a 404 page. But luckily, in the original announcement by the Hedera Foundation, we can see that they listed alongside the spot ETF listing from Canary, there are 12 other ETFs filed that reference HBAR. So we can see several different Rex Osprey ones. We have Pro Shares, Crane Shares, 21 Shares, whatever this one is. What is that? T-Row, we have Canary, of course, and Grayscale. And if you guys haven't seen this already, we have iTrustCapital as official partners of USC Athletics, so they are proud to be the main presenters of the USC vs Michigan game. And if you pay attention to every single altcoin that Eric has mentioned with a high probability to have spot ETFs in the United States, iTrustCapital has all of those available. Whether that's Solana, XRP, HBAR, Litecoin, AVAX, Doge, and more. And you guys already know I've had my Roth IRA with iTrustCapital since 2020, so if you guys decide to create an account, make sure that you use promo code KKJ to claim your $100 funding bonus. And hey, you guys know I'm rooting to see more and more altcoin spot ETFs in the United States, but will I ever actually own spot ETFs for alts? No, because I'd rather own the actual crypto asset. I don't want to hold shares. I want to be able to trade 24/7, 365. And I can do all of that on iTrust, so whether I'm using a premium custody account or a Roth IRA for tax-free growth. Alright, let's go over this, and let me make sure that I follow them with notifications on to keep tabs on this group. So we have Brad Garlinghouse sharing this. Ashish and his team are building something special with Evernorth XRP. We are proud to partner with him and proud to join an incredible set of investors, including SBI Holdings, Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR, and RippleWorks, to support Evernorth as it participates in institutional lending, liquidity provisioning, and DeFi yield opportunities for XRP. Alright, so we have Ashish Burla, who is formerly over at Ripple, and he says this: I'm proud to share that we've launched Evernorth XRP, a first-of-its-kind institutional vehicle built to accelerate XRP adoption. With over a decade of uptime and a rapidly growing DeFi ecosystem, XRP is well-positioned for adoption, and Evernorth is built to meet that moment. He points out that XRP represents a rare opportunity, being one of the few digital assets with clear US regulatory standing, deep liquidity, and a proven role in powering global payments. As CEO and chair of the board of directors of Evernorth, I am incredibly excited to get started. With this new role, I'll be stepping down from Ripple's board of directors. Huge thank you to our investors, partners, and the team who made this vision a reality. Keep an eye out for our ticker, XRPN, on NASDAQ. Alright, so this is a really big deal. We're going to go over this PR Newswire article, but I want to add a bit of speculation and some questions I have. So we know that Evernorth's plan is to raise over $1 billion and use most of it to buy XRP directly on the open market. So obviously that creates some excitement and speculation on the supply impact, especially if the Treasury's buying and accumulation was on an ongoing basis. And notice right here, they are positioning Evernorth as an active XRP treasury, so this is not passive. And what this does is creates new institutional use cases on the XRP ledger, so lending, liquidity provisioning, DeFi yield strategies, all of it. And that's the big hope with all of this, is that Evernorth could inject consistent on-chain demand for XRP and strengthen liquidity. And the same thing for liquidity pools that use the Ripple US dollar and other assets. We have right here under DeFi integration, leveraging Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin as an on-ramp into XRP-based DeFi. So with this integration of the Ripple US dollar stablecoin into Evernorth's DeFi strategy, this could make the RLUS dollar be the default bridge for institutional DeFi activity on the XRP ledger, and it seems like they want to go this direction. And this would basically just strengthen the position for the Ripple US dollar for stablecoin settlements and on-chain lending. We've already gone over the native lending protocol on the XRP ledger before, so I'm expecting to hear more about that in the future. And notice right here, we have Ripple executives Brad Stewart and David Schwartz are expected to serve as strategic advisors, supporting alignment with the XRP ecosystem. So right there, and I know they're all buddies with Ashish anyways, the CEO of Evernorth, there's going to be a lot of alignments, and Ashish is very well versed with the company Ripple and the XRP ledger already. And this type of alignment and partnering could accelerate new financial products and liquidity across Ripple payments, the Ripple US dollar, and XRP ledger-based DeFi platforms. So we can see the Evernorth name and is expected to trade on NASDAQ under the ticker XRPN. And remember, we have the CEO of the NASDAQ speaking at Ripple Swell next week. And the big thing about being on the NASDAQ, same thing with the Canary Capital HBAR ETF, you get a huge amount of visibility into traditional markets. And just like that adage that we heard years ago, it starts off for institutional adoption like a trickle, and then flood. And this is one of many gateways for institutional crypto to flow indirectly into XRP and the XRPL ecosystem. The transaction is expected to raise over $1 billion in gross proceeds, including $200 million from SBI and additional investments from Ripple, RippleWorks, an independent charitable foundation supporting social impact ventures globally, and leading digital asset and fintech leaders and investors, Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR. So, if Evernorth is successful and we're going to keep tabs, they could become the template for regulated digital asset treasuries. We have to consider the $1 billion G Treasury acquisition that Ripple made, and I believe in one of their blogs, don't quote me, you can go fact check, but I believe they said 5 acquisitions they've made over the past 2 years. I know they mentioned Rail, Medico, G Treasury, and so on. So we're still early days, but this is basically regulated digital asset treasuries, and this is a structure that merges Wall Street compliance with blockchain native yield generation. And remember years ago, making XRP the global reserve currency, whether or not you believe in that, that's fine, but the potential is absolutely there. Because if all this goes through, instead of XRP just being a payment token, which is what I perceive it as, it could be recognized as the XRPL grows, with DeFi, yield, lending, it could be recognized as an institutional reserve asset. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We went over a bunch and there's even more to go over in tomorrow's video. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below for the algorithm, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below. You can find all links to my crypto resources, including tools for charting, trading bots, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts right in my link tree in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.